students, now we will study water pollution and what are the major sources of water pollution, what are its effects. As we have studied previous also some of the sources and effects of water pollution, how it was impacting our health and general flora and fauna and ecosystem on our earth and atmosphere. Not only on our land, it also affects the flora and fauna and aquatic system inside the river body. Okay. So, now we should study what are the rest of the and remaining sources of water pollution also. First of all, marine pollution. So, marine pollution includes the oceans are the final sink of all natural and man-made pollution. As we all know that marine pollution means water bodies at a very high level, very large scale level. So, we all have seen that all the small all the small water bodies containing the pollutant get dumped into the large water bodies and get pollute them. Okay. So, all the pollution which are into the small water bodies like lakes, ponds and small water bodies like small lakes, small ponds etc., contains a lot of water pollutant and it can get them dumped into the large sea and large oceans. So, they pollute all the water inside the large seas and ocean. So, we can see that all the oceans and sea are on a large scale carrying the large scale water pollutant, because they are containing the major water pollutants from all the small bodies like lakes and ponds and small rivers also. So, marine pollution is causing pollution, water pollution at a very higher level, at a very larger, it has a very larger impact, because it contains more the quantity, more the concentration of water pollution than any of the other small water body. So, oceans, because oceans are the final sink of all the natural and man-made pollution. The river discharges their pollutant into the sea. The sewage and garbage of coastal cities, like which are including beaches and the coastal cities, sewage and garbage which are put on the land surfaces and soil surfaces near the any river body get dumped into the sea and oceans. Then the other sources include discharges of oils, grease, detergents, radioactive waste from the ships etc. also. So, we can see the picture here, you can see how the land surfaces near the water body is damaging the water body also. The land surfaces, the garbage and the water pollutant on the land surfaces and the nearby the water body is also polluting the water body. Now, next cause is thermal pollution. Next type of water pollution was thermal pollution. Then thermal pollution of water is caused by the rise in temperature of water. Then thermal pollution is major impact of thermal pollution, as the name suggests. Thermal pollution causes the major impact of water pollution. It causes the major impact of water pollution. It rises the temperature of water pollution. Yes, now students, can you think of what impact could be? What impact should it cause onto the flora and fauna or biosystem of our earth or biosystem of our atmosphere? Yes, my dear students. Yes, my dear students, you are correct. That impacts not only at the flora and fauna and the life onto our land system, onto our soil system, but it also impacts the aquatic system, aquatic living beings, aquatic flora and fauna which is surviving inside the water body. Yes, dear students, you can imagine when the temperature of water body gets risen up to a large extent, then you can find out, then you can yourself imagine and you can feel like what difficulty the flora and fauna and the organisms and plants living out there, surviving out there can feel like. Okay, what difficulties they can face. The temperature is not able to bear up. That high temperature they will get died up, then they will get lessen up, their growth will not be in a proper form, in a proper manner as it should have. So, thermal pollution of water is caused by the rise in temperature of water. The main source of thermal pollution are thermal and nuclear power plant. The power generating plants use water as coolants and release hot water into the original source. The sudden rise in temperature kills fish and other aquatic animals therein. So, my dear students, what is thermal pollution? The thermal pollution of water is caused by the rise in temperature of water. The main source of thermal pollution are thermal and nuclear power plant. The thermal and nuclear power plant, as you all of you have studied nuclear power plant generates a high amount of boiling water exceeding the highest temperatures, like highest temperature water, the higher temperature water which are at a boiling temperature get dumped into the sea bodies, get dumped into the river bodies, sea bodies, different sort of water bodies. Then can you imagine what will be the condition of aquatic life there? What will be the condition of general aquatic flora and fauna living out there? Yes, dear students, all the flora and fauna living out there will get impacted very badly. So, the power generating plants use water as coolant and release hot water into the original sources, into the larger water sources. Then it causes a sudden rise in temperature, which kills all the aquatic life there, including different kinds of fishes and other aquatic animals. Then power plant includes two forms like thermal and nuclear power plant, and chemical and other industries uses a lot of water, up to 30% of extracted water for cooling purpose, and then they cool their machinery, they cool their factories and the industries. When they are cooled up, then they throw out that hot water which is being generated after cooling up their machinery, cooling up their engines. Then that particular hot water are dispersed into the, are suspended into the, are immersed into the water bodies like as such, and because of that the temperature of water bodies raises to a very high temperature, raises to that temperature which is totally intolerable by aquatic living organisms. So, the power plants like thermal and nuclear power plants and other chemical industries uses a lot of water, and after using the lot, how they use that water? They use for different purposes, out of which cooling purpose is one of the main purpose. They uses a normal temperature water, cold water, normal temperature water for cooling their engines and machineries, and after cooling it as a coolant, and then after cooling it they disperse a large amount of hot boiling water into rivers and other streams, into different water bodies like seas, oceans, etc. Then wastewater heat from boilers and heating processes increases the temperature of cooling water. Then how did it increase the temperature? The waste heat from all the machinery and engines of factories and industries heats up the waste heat, the heat energy generated from those processes, heat up the water there, and then particular cooled water get converted into the hot water, and that particular hot boiling water is suspended into the water body at a large levels. Now, discharge of these hot water, can you imagine, they increase the temperature by 10 to 15 degree. The 10 to 15 degree above the ambient temperature, the temperature which is required by normal aquatic flora and fauna. So, students, you can see, you can imagine your way, the discharge of hot water may increase the temperature of receiving water by 10 to 15 degrees Celsius up to an ambient, up to a normal temperature which is being required by all the aquatic living organisms living inside the water bodies. So, now you can imagine, you can feel yourself that how aquatic life can persist or how aquatic life can sustain. It is very hard for them to grow up, to show productivity, to show growth, and to lead a normal growing stages and to lead a normal life. So, it increases the temperature by 10 to 15 degree above the ambient water temperature. Increase in this water temperature not only increases the temperature, dear students, it not only increases the temperature of water, making it hard for all the aquatic flora and fauna to live there, but also it decreases the oxygen. It decreases the oxygen inside the water, and we all know that oxygen is very important component for aquatic life to persist or sustain. Without oxygen they cannot grow, without oxygen they cannot eat, without oxygen they cannot show any normal biological processes which are required for their proper growth and health. So, dissolved oxygen inside the water body also get diminished, also get decreased because of the rise in water temperature, and because of which it is adversely affecting aquatic life flora and fauna as a whole. Yes, my dear student, this is the thing which I am telling you. In last lectures also, in previous slides also, I have shown you, I have taught you that all the flora and fauna inside the water body also is getting adversely affected. Their growth, their productivity, their life, their sustaining power is getting decreased because of these factors, because it is very difficult to sustain in higher temperature, and it is also difficult to sustain and to live without oxygen and depletion of oxygen in the water. Depletion of oxygen in the water makes all the aquatic flora and fauna, all the aquatic living organisms to live inside the water body. Now, accordingly, aquatic organisms are adapted to a uniform steady temperature of environment, and any fluctuation in water temperature severely affects aquatic plants and animals. Hence, discharge of hot water from power plants adversely affect aquatic organisms. Yes, dear students, that is what I have shown you, but that is what I have taught you in previous slides also, that accordingly all the aquatic organisms, when they see the temperature is rising day by day and making it unsuitable, unfit for their use and their life and their growth power, productivity and sustaining normal life. So, they will try to adapt them to the higher temperature of body. Because of this, they will affect their normal growth processes, normal living processes, normal biological processes of their body, of their organisms will get impacted a lot, and because of which their whole life will impact a lot. Now, aquatic plants and animals in the warm tropical water live dangerously close to their upper limit of temperature. So, particularly during the warm summer months. So, one of the best method of reducing thermal pollution is to store hot water in cooling ponds, allow the water to cool before it reaches to the large water bodies. Yes, dear student, what could be done? First of all, aquatic plants and animals which are living in warm tropical water live dangerously close to their upper limit of temperature. So, they could not exceed their temperature, their minimal survival temperature is already up to the higher extent, which are living on to the warm temperature, which are living in warm belts of our earth, okay, which are living in warm regions of our earth, okay. They are already living at a temperature which are warmer than the normal plainy areas or warmer than the river bodies which are in the colder areas, right. So, if they would exceed that particular temperature, from that particular temperature, if they would more exceed the temperature, the water body will get damaged and it will become unfit for their use, it will become totally unfit for their growth. So, they are already, because they are already living on to the higher extent of temperature of their water body in which they are living or located in, right. So, aquatic plants and animals which are living in warm tropical land are already living a dangerously closed life or dangerously alarming life, which because they are already tolerating the upper limit of water temperature, maximum limit of water temperature which their body can survive up, okay. That is what I want to say. Particularly more warm climates or more summer months, it is very difficult for them to live inside the water and to remain in and tolerate that particular temperature. So, now can you imagine if these water bodies gets polluted with water pollutants, the water pollutants like thermal pollutants, and it will hot water bodies, and it will rise the temperature of such water bodies to a more higher extent, to a more larger temperatures, higher temperature, that will be totally intolerable to all the aquatic life, aquatic flora and fauna, and it will lead to a mass death or a death of all the living organisms inside water bodies to a larger extent. So, dear student, we should think of them also, and we should try to eradicate it, we should try to reduce it at our own part. Then one of the best method of reducing thermal pollution, or how can we reduce the temperature of such kind of water, such kind of boiled water which is coming out of any thermal power plant or nuclear power plant or chemical power plant, how can we reduce it? We can reduce it in some cooling ponds, we can store it there, and because of their storage, because of their contact with the atmosphere, then eventually they will get cooled up and their temperature will get reduced. After the temperature will get reduced, now we can drain them off, we can dump them off, we can move them out to the larger water bodies like seas and ocean. So, this is the most important, according to me, as far as I think, this is the most important and very crucial step. We should follow it to reduce the temperature of water pollution which is coming out of thermal power plants, nuclear power plants like. Okay. So, we should try to store them, we should try to convert that hot boiling water to somewhat colder water or somewhat cooler water, somewhat water of reduced temperature before dumping them, before suspending them to larger water bodies like ocean and seas. So, that the flora and fauna, the aquatic life which is living there does not get impacted. Now, how can we control water pollution? Yes, my dear students, it is the last part of water pollution. Now, we should prudently, we should, as a responsible citizen, as a responsible human being, we should think of what should be the measures and what should be the control of water pollution. Following measures can be adopted to control water pollution. The water requirement, first, what is the first measure? What should be the first measure? The water requirement should be minimized by the techniques involved. First of all, we should minimize the wastage of water. Okay, when the wastage of water, how it is impacting the water pollution? Now, you might be thinking that because the wastage of water will lead to more requirement of water and more requirement of water when the sufficient water which is good for designated use, which is in pure form, which is suitable for human use and animal use, for which is suitable for all the biomass use, biosystem use is not available, then we will be forced to use up that polluted water only. So, we should try to reduce water usage, we should try to reduce the water pollution in that manner also. Then secondly, water should be reused with or without treatment. Then water, we should try to use water and we should try to recycle it and retreating it and using it again and again after treating in various forms, in various ways, in various places where we can use it. Okay. Like first of all, if we cannot use it for drinking purpose, we can use it for washing purpose, or we can use it for different sort of other purpose, other domestic uses, under indoor uses and outdoor uses also. So, it is not only meant for drinking purpose. So, it is not recommended that you drink polluted water. You can use the treated water, the pre-treated water or recycled water in various other forms, in various other uses also, which are very common nowadays, which are very commonly used in our indoor, domestic, residential and outdoor purposes. In industries and factories also we can use that, we can involve that system, we can involve that technique to filter it or to pre-treat it or to recycle the water, wastewater, and it can be very well used in any factory or industry. So, it will not only reduce water pollution because of pre-treatment, because of filtration or because of any recycling technique, it will also conserve our main source on our earth is water. So, it will also conserve our most essential source, our most essential gift of earth is water. So, we should also try to preserve and conserve it, and it will also reduce its wastage also. So, in that way it is good and it is benefited in both the ways. So, we should try to use recycled water, pre-treated and post-treated, and use it again and again for different sort of activities, different sort of purposes by pre-treating it, post-treating and recycling water. Then third one, recycling of water after treatment should also be practiced to maximum extent possible. This is what I told you now, just now. Recycling of water should also be done. We all should follow, as a responsible human beings, we all should follow these simple technique, this simple machinery of pre-treatment, post-treatment and recycling of water, and which is very suitable to use, for many various outdoor and indoor activities, indoor actions, indoor deeds, and various factories and industries also can use this treated and this recycled water. There is no harm at all. So, we should try to inculcate in ourselves that this practice of treating water, pre-treatment which involve pre-treatment, post-treatment of water, then recycling of water which after treatment should be practiced into maximum levels, maximum all the activities which is possible. Last, the quantity of water discharge should be reduced as minimized. So, waste water should be reduced as far as possible. The wastage of water and the waste water effluent which is coming from different effluents, different sources, like what are the sources, as I have told you earlier also, point sources and non-point sources. Yes, my dear student. So, various water pollutant, various waste water which are coming from different sources, like different point sources and different non-point sources should be minimized up to a larger extent. Then wastewater from domestic or industrial sources or from garbage dumps is generally known as sewage. What is sewage? Sewage includes different waste waters, different wastes, different water pollutants which are coming from domestic, industrial sources, domestic and industrial sources, different garbage dumps are known as sewage altogether. It may also contain rainwater and surface land. Surface runoff means land surface runoff. Yes, dear students, it is land surface runoff. The sewage water can be, this sewage water can be treated in a STP. What is STP? Do you know what is a STP? Yes, dear student, STP is a sewage treatment plant. So, this sewage water which is coming out from garbage dump, which is coming out from industry, any factory, any industrial sources, any domestic sources, any residential sources, any household, domestic purposes, these all land runoff also, like rainwater also, these all should be contained as a sewage and they all should be treated in a STP, in a sewage treatment plant, and it should be treated for making it to safe and healthy use, for converting it to safe and healthy use for disposable into water bodies like river and lake. Not only making it for usage, but also disposing it off into large river bodies like oceans and seas, like rivers and lakes. Before disposing of also, we should treat all these sewage sources, all these sewages waste water or all these sewage water into a sewage treatment plant. That means all that we should do is we should try to treat and recycle our water before dumping into a large water body. It will not only clean it, it will also maintain the health, maintain the cleanliness of large water body also. Okay. In the both the ways it is very good step. So, we will try to inculcate it, we should try to do it. The treatment involves 3 stages basically, how water is treated: primary, secondary and tertiary, which includes sedimentation, coagulation, flocculation, filtration, disinfection, softening and aeration. So, these are the steps in which water is treated. Primary treatments involve, first 3 steps involve primary treatment removes suspended particulate matter, secondary treatment removes organic solids left out primary treatments, effluents after secondary treatment may be cleaned out and contained large form of ammonia, nitrate and phosphorus. So, tertiary treatment is also used. Tertiary treatment removes these primary treatment, these secondary treatment gases, these chemicals like nitrate, phosphates, ammonia from the water and making it suitable and healthy and fit for aquatic organisms and all the organisms living on the land surfaces. So, my dear students, we have all seen what is water pollution altogether, what are the sources of water pollution, what are the sources, what are the effects, what are the causes of water pollution and what are the preventive measures to control it and to eradicate water pollution, so that all the aquatic flora fauna not only on into the river body, but also on the land surfaces could lead a happy and healthy life. Thank you once again.